I'm Charlie Bright of Gold Derby, and today I'm speaking with Molly Shannon, who plays Pat Dubeck on the other two. First thing I have to ask is, what is it about Pat that we saw in season two specifically that you find most endearing about her?
I think she cares so much about her family, and that's what's so great about the show. It's biting comedy, but at the end of the day, it's about a family that just wants to be together and loves one another. Her children are everything. So I think I like Pat's genuineness and enthusiasm and love for her family.
So, I'm curious as to at what point, when you first were presented, the script and this project, at what point did you know that playing Pat was something special that you knew you wanted to do?
I didn't even have to see a script. It's just that I received a call from Chris Kelly when I was actually on the set of Divorce. I was doing Divorce with Sarah Jessica, and I had a great time working with Sarah Jessica and Talia, and it was so fun. But Chris called me, and he was like, I realize you might not want to do another show in New York City because I live in California, but I have this show and I would love for you to play the mom. So I think I just said yes right away because it's Chris Kelly. And at that point, I had not met Sarah Schneider, but just so yes, it's just how could you ever say no to Chris Kelly? And now I just adore Sarah Schneider, and they're such a great team. So it was just as simple as that, just a phone call, and because it's him. And we had done other two together, and it was just such a great, I feel like we're a really good team. And so I could never pass up working with Chris ever.
Actually, that makes that. So you said that this was going back to New York. That this was going back to New York for you.
Mm-hmm.
You live in California now. Was it fun to be back in New York? Doing comedy performing. A little different than Saturday Night Live, but to be doing that again.
It really is fun, and I fly back and forth all the time, so it's a little that part gets a little bit hectic, but it did feel really fun, and you really feel like the character, like because you're walking around the streets of New York City, and I'm in my Pat wig, and sometimes I'll go and get like a deli, like a breakfast sandwich, and I'm in my wig and costume, and I told Jody Mancuso, our hair designer, that I saw a gentleman in a deli and he was like, nice hair, meaning my Pat hair. And he kind of like flirted with me, and I thought it was so funny. So I told Jody, I was like, see, the hair looks good because I just got a compliment from a gentleman. But yeah, it's really fun being in New York City. And Chris and Sarah are such good writers that it's when the writing's that good, it's really easy to memorize because it's written in such a natural way, and then there are such good jokes, so it's very fun to perform. It's like musical almost.
So I have to ask, you had a lot of great scenes as Pat during the second season, but what was your favorite scene to play as Pat during this most recent season?
Ooh, let's see. That's a really good question. I guess I haven't seen the episode yet, but the scene at the very end when I'm in the hospital bed and I had the nervous breakdown during the fashion show. And then I tell Streeter, he's like, I want to be there for you and do everything. And she's like, yes, but I don't like that. I don't like that kind of energy. Just the way that it was written is so funny. So I liked that. And uh, she just feels a little like he's being too needy, and it's making her feel like she has to take care of him, and it's making her really irritated, and she doesn't want to have any more on her plate. So I thought it was just so well written and funny. I love the combination of really funny and then touching and real. It's my favorite type of comedy. And then also it's really fun to do a scene in bed all day. You just, not having to stand up. It's great. Like if you're going to be on the set for 14 hours, you might as well be, in a bed acting, Yeah.
It's way better than eating for a scene, from what I've heard.
Yes. Eating in a scene's hard. That's very hard because you have to do your lines. If you really have to be eating in a scene, it's hard to get your lines out. So you have to eat. So I've learned you have to eat certain types of food that's easy to chew that won't, create problems.
So one of the things that I'm always curious about is do you see any when you is there any trait of Pat's that you've seen on the page and you think to yourself, oh, that's a little close to home for me?
Well, so I always say to Chris, this is really funny, but there will be a lot of scenes where he's like, okay, Molly, this is a scene where Pat has just finished her day of work, but she's going to rush to the airport because she has to take a red eye back to LA. And he'll be describing the scene, and it will be exactly like what's going on in my real life. And so that does happen. That's really funny. Or I'm like, yeah, I'm going to hop a plane tonight back to LA too after we finish shooting this scene about Pat having to take a red eye. It's like that kind of stuff. And then I think Chris and Sarah are so good at finding, they really know how to write for the character. So I think they know how to pull stuff from me and put that into Pat.
So I know we don't know where Pat's going to go in the third season, but where do you hope that Pat will go in the third season of this show?
Well, she's, she has her own talk show now, and she's getting pretty famous. And so I hope that she can set some boundaries for herself so she doesn't have another nervous breakdown. She's doing a lot. She's, she has her children, she's a mom, she has her big talk show now. So she's new to all this fame. So she's gonna have to figure out how to pull back so she doesn't, snap. So I don't know what's gonna happen. I haven't read any of the episodes, but I'm very excited to see where it goes, because she's probably getting more sophisticated now that she's had more time in show business. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think that's one of the other things that I find so interesting about Pat is that she's so eager to please.
Mm-hmm.
And I at the same time I love it, but at the same time I'm always just like, oh, you need to pull back, honey. You're really overexerting yourself.
Yeah, it was funny on Saturday Night Live. We used to get big bags of fan mail, but we were newly famous, so all of us actors, like me and Will Ferrell, would be so excited, like look at this. And when we were newly famous, we would handwrite return notes to all these individual fans. So I always say to people, and then when you've been in the business for a while longer, you learn you can't do that. It's impossible. But it was funny because I think if you're really a fan of somebody, try to hit them up if you want a letter back at the beginning when they're first famous, because there's a chance they might write back. I would write long letters back to fans when I was first on SNL, and I would answer every letter personally. Isn't that crazy?
I mean, I admire the commitment.
Yeah. But then you're like, oh my God, this is like a full-time job. Then you can't keep up with it. But in the beginning, it's so exciting.
So actually, this segues into one of the things I wanted to ask you about your time on SNL. You particularly had, you had a wealth of great celebrity impersonations, but also a wealth of great original characters. I think of, The Delicious Dish and oh God, Sally O'Malley. Oh my God, Sally O'Malley. And I'm curious as to, it's a two-part question. What was your favorite celebrity impression to do on SNL? And who was your favorite original character to portray?
Celebrity impression would definitely be Courtney Love, because she's such a bad girl and she's the total opposite of me. She just doesn't care, and she's reckless, and it was just the most fun to play. She's physical and wild and spontaneous, and so she would be my favorite one to play. And then for characters, let's see here. I did love the joyologist. That was really fun, where she comes on, Helen Madden, the licensed joyologist, and she's like, I love it, I love it, I love it. It feels really good to kick your leg up in a chair like that. And the chair was really comfortable. It feels physically good to do that. And I like how excited she is. We're doing wonderful things, and it was very positive. It's very fun to perform some of those characters. Yeah. I always like to write in a way, I like to write things that are fun to say. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sally O'Malley. Proud to say I'm 50 years old. I'm not one of those gals who's afraid to tell a real age, and I like to kick, shred, and kick. That's fun to say. I could say it over and over again. It feels fun. So
I remember when you first did your Courtney Love impression. I think it was right around the time that she didn't get nominated for the Academy Award for People versus Larry Flint, and I remember seeing it and thinking it was really funny. And then a couple of years later, I saw because I didn't have cable at the time, but I saw the moment at the Video Music Awards red carpet when she ambushed the interview with Madonna, and like that was exactly what she did, and I was laughing at it at a whole new level.
Whoa, that's so funny. I don't think I've ever seen that. Wow, that's interesting. She used to be so wild, showing up with Kurt Cobain in her slip dresses and a cigarette, holding her baby. I love the whole rock and roll, thing was fascinating to me.
And one of the other things that you've done a bit more recently is that you've been doing quite a bit of voice work, and my personal favorite is you're playing Millie, Louise's nemesis slash all-time best friend on Bob's Burgers. And I was wondering, what do you enjoy most about doing voice work and playing a character like Millie?
Millie's so mischievous, and she's like, she really likes Louise, and I would say that it's again very well written, and the character is so fun, and the way that they record it is really easy. I've done work on television shows where it's voice work where they make you do it over and over and over and over again. This is just the most spontaneous, and sometimes we do it live with the other performers right there, which is just the greatest. It's like, oh my God, those people are so talented, that cast. But it's just easy. Like, you don't have to do that many takes. They're very easy. It's just like a joy to perform on that, because they record fast and they kind of know what they want, and so it's just such a fun job. I hope they keep writing for me.
I hope so as well.
Yeah.
And one of the speaking of we talked at the beginning about Chris Kelly. Your first work with him was on the film Other People, and for which you won the Spirit Award for Best Supporting Female. And I was curious as to what was that experience like of winning that kind of honor?
It was, Charlie, it was such an incredible experience. I remember I worked really hard promoting that movie. I went to all the different, festivals, and Savannah Film Festival. I went all over promoting it. But then that day of the Independent Spirit Awards, I was like, oh, I really, it's like, 'cause people could say, oh, I don't care if I win or not. I really was like, oh, I hope that I have a chance, because it also gives more publicity to independent movies. It's like, just the winning alone really makes more people see the movie. So that's one of the best business things of the award season. It gives these low budget independent movies more visibility. So for that, that's important. But I was really, I don't know, nothing like that has ever happened to me before, and I couldn't believe it. But I felt ready, and I really was like, well, I hope I have a chance. So it was thrilling. I couldn't believe it. But I was prepared, and I thought, people work to have their dress ready and their hair. And so I did work on my speech, and I don't feel like that jinxes it. I feel like, be prepared, and you got your time, and they tell you, you have whatever, 1 minute or 2 minutes, and so I felt like I was ready to win. Isn't that funny? And I also think it's so important in life to celebrate the good moments. It's like, you can work really hard, and if you don't take time to celebrate victories, what's the point? I think it's really important to do that in life.
And well, you also had that great moment towards at the end of your speech when you did the whole superstar thing, and I still use that as a GIF on messages to my friends.
That's so sweet, Charlie. I wrote my speech, and I didn't tell anybody that I was going to do that, but I just thought in my head, I was like, maybe if I win, I'll just do it as a little like celebration, because it really is the perfect opportunity. And that's a very star-studded crowd. That Independent Spirit Awards, it's the night before the Oscars. It's a big deal. And I'm an entertainer, so I definitely thought, well, this will be fun, but it was spontaneous. I just threw it in at the last minute. I think I was like, wait a minute, and I feel like I think I might have spun around and then just did it. But it was just absolutely thrilling. I'm so glad I did that.
Well, Molly, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you all the best over this award season. And to all of our viewers, please like this video, share it, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to go to goldderby.com to make your Emmy predictions.